Well, hello there.
Howdy ho, neighbors.
Here we are. This is episode 4 or 5 we're on?
4.
4. We're episode 4. I can't count. But yep, I'm your host here as always with the real deal. I'm just making chipmunk noises over there. And our Australian brethren, he may or may not be joining us. We don't know. He's doing his own thing. We can't keep up with the guy. He's crazy. He's like a wild caged animal or uncaged animal. We can't keep up with him. So we're just doing our best. We're going to roll right along with it. Dill, what have you been up to? What do you got going on?
Well, been working on some equipment, trying to connect it to the satellite that we got for training. And we got all but 2 of our terminals fully operational. And I've been watching One Punch Man. Currently made it halfway through season 2.
You've been watching that. You've done your riveting terminal stuff, which I was almost put to sleep when you even talked about that for 30 seconds.
I know. I sneak around and get behind some other equipment and take a nap every now and then.
Yep.
Just to get through the day.
Yeah. So that's it? That's all you got going on?
You know, I was reminded of Cell Block, Brawl and Cell Block 99, a Vince Vaughn led movie. Dude, that movie is so good. Have you seen it?
I have not seen that.
Sort of like Quentin Tarantino, where the director, he brings in a lot of 70s exploitation vibes to it. You gotta give it a watch. It's very brutal, but it's also got some like really subtle character work. Very good motivations for the characters.
Yeah.
It's a solid filmmaking.
Yeah. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You have your recommendations, so go out and watch Brawl and Cell Block 99, and I also would recommend One Punch Man if you haven't watched that either. Myself, still watching the Musashi show. I just watch one episode every night before I go to bed. So it's around 8, 9 o'clock. I'll go ahead and watch an episode and go to sleep. I'm really liking
And you
the
said
show.
You said it was 50 episodes, like 50?
Yeah, 50 episodes. I'm on episode 17 now. And, well, yeah, I'll just watch it, and it's really good. There's action in it, but not a lot of action. It's really character-driven. So if you're expecting this big samurai thing, there is that from time to time, but it doesn't happen a lot. It's really character and narrative-driven.
Right.
Like I said, it's kind of like Game of Thrones. There's all these characters. There's all these different things. You know they're going to come and collide at some point in the series as it goes on. And you know that if you study history, you would say, oh, well, obviously this is going to happen. How are they going to get it there in the story? I've been playing Half-Life Alyx, which is a VR game. I've been enjoying that. Doing a lot of reading, some history book reading. For a future project I've got coming up. Look for that in July that I'm doing. So, yeah, I'm doing all my research and making my notes and everything for that.
Nice.
Something big that just happened was the PS5, the PlayStation 5 got revealed, and the internet hates it. Like, there's memes. People say it looks like a taco. It looks like a router. It looks like a space heater. It looks like the Eye of Mordor tower. Like, yeah, everyone's making fun of it.
I saw somebody, he had a fan. It looked like a really tall version of the PS5.
Yeah, so it's like they tried to make something that wasn't a black box because people were like, we're tired of the black boxes. Like, okay, here's this weird alien flower-looking thing, and everyone made fun of it. So, and apparently it's huge. Some, like, people went in and measured the disk drive, and then... So this is how big a disk drive should be to put like a DVD in it, a blurry DVD.
Right.
And they
blurry
measured
DVD.
it. Yeah, and apparently it's the tallest console that's ever been made. The thing is huge, apparently, according to these detectives. So that's the big things that's been happening lately. I caught a frog in the house. I don't know how these damn things are getting in the house. This was a tree frog. So the invasion of the frog prick is real, and I'm dealing with it. So
the thing is, but have they been turned gay?
I don't know. Maybe that's why they're in the house. They're after me. You never know. All right, so probably should have started with this, but this is the MCM Podcast. We're here to talk about what's going on and some of the latest entertainment news and nerdy stuff type news and take some questions from the audience. If you want to interact, I have updated the website. So if you go to mcmdebates.com, there is a button. You don't have to scroll down to the bottom of the page anymore. There is a button that you press, and it will take you to the forum to send in if any questions, thoughts, concerns, or ideas that you may have. Or if you want to submit an article. If you want to write an article, I'll push that over to the content editor, much to Jared's chagrin of who that person is. But I'll push it over to the content editor, and it may get on the site. Who knows? But now that we got that out of the way, today we've got some stuff going on. We're going to be talking about how a lot of the DC movies are moving off of HBOmax. Can't believe we're talking about this yet again. Seems like every time we get together, we got to talk about HBOmax. Is Henry Cavill good enough to lead a Superman movie? Bill and Ted just released their new trailer and some more stuff down the line. So let's go right into the questions here. First question we have, again, from our good friend who took up the whole episode last time, NVB. Movie-going experiences. What are some of your most memorable movie-going experiences? Can be good or bad. Go ahead, Dill. I'll kick it off.
All right, so it's a Twilight movie that was one of my best experiences in the theaters. It was New Moon, midnight showing, because my mom wanted to go watch it, and I'm like, well, I might as well go watch a movie in the theater.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like, it was with the big hype of the Edward versus Jacob fandom split. So I don't think they were actual fanboys or whatever, but we had like 3 or 4 different guys who were split between Team Jacob and Edward, and they were just trolling each other the entire screening. And then it climaxed at the very end. There's a moment where Jacob turns wolf mode in front of Edward, and one of them stood up in the back, "Kick his ass, Jacob!" Just had me rolling, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane because I hate being in the front row. Right, I hate being in the front row where your neck's cranked up and you gotta turn to see. And that's where I was, is in the front row. I was expecting to just loathe this experience, and these guys just like, I forgot like all the troubles of having to turn to see each character talk and everything. I had a blast.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never had anything like that. So, like I said, back home they had the drive-in theater, and they wouldn't always play new movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I was little. I don't remember how old I was. I remember I was little, and we went there, and Jaws was playing. I'm not old enough for that have been new. But it was playing. Yeah. Maybe it was a sequel. I don't know. I just remember that is my first experience of going to the movies. Is going to the drive-in and seeing a Jaws movie. But like I said, they would replay, like they played the Conan movies and stuff like that. So it wouldn't always be new stuff because this is like middle of nowhere, Mississippi. The second one was the Ninja Turtle movie. I forget. I think it was the second one, and I probably
The Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah, I was like 5 years old or something, I guess, when I saw that. And I went there with a bunch of friends. It was my dad and my stepmom, and took me and a bunch of friends to go watch it. And we were just having a blast. We were just laughing, and there was like a bunch of kids, of course, in the theater. So it was like a big thing. We reacted to stuff. We walked outside, and we were like doing the cowabunga high five and everything. So yeah, that's some of like my first really memorable experiences going to the theaters.
My first theatrical experience was Rugrats in Paris. You know, where they pilot the giant robotic Reptar. I can't remember much other than, images of the screen. But, that was my first. See, Jared here has The Force Awakens written down. But, he's not here.
But yeah, so that's our movie moments right there. Let's go on to the next question. Let's keep it going. Our dad, Mario, wants to say, in the current Black Lives Matter era, do you think Marvel and DC will bring some black heroes to the big screen and their colleagues? Even ones that may suck donkey balls. Some characters that don't So what would you like to see if do you think they're going to bring more? Obviously, Marvel already has with
Yeah,
Black Panther, so that's kind of a
and
null point.
we're getting
And
a
Falcon,
Blade, right? We're getting Blade with Mahershala Ali,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm interested in that, but I think it's PG-13, ain't it?
It's Marvel, so yeah, they everything they're going to do is PG-13.
Yeah, I'm interested in it mainly because I love Mahershala Ali's performances.
Yep.
But I would really want them to nut up and do a cyborg movie, or at
Yeah.
least a Flash cyborg movie.
Yeah, like we talked about that before for DC. And for me, I think if they're going to introduce a Green Lantern, it needs to be John Smith. Just go ahead and do it. Just
Stewart.
Stewart. Sorry, yeah. Who's John Smith?
John
Anyway,
Smith is Pocahontas' lover, man.
no shit. Yeah. Well, I really messed that up. That's me being a racist. Yeah, but yeah, John Stewart, and they could have done because they did the Shaquille Steele movie,
Mm.
but they could do an alternate universe Superman with either Steele or what is the guy's name, Zon L in Earth
Oh,
Two. That is the out like because
B. Jordan, Michael B.
Michael B.
Jordan.
Jordan was in talks to play Superman, so that could be kind of like what they did with Joker. Is you have your because they're doing the multiverse, they've embraced it. So
Yeah.
let's just do all different that you can do. Batwing,
Hmm.
who's the Black Batman. You could do that.
Yeah.
So
Batwing is Lucius Fox's nephew, right?
something like that. Yeah, I don't really know, but that's some stuff that I think they could do, and I think they should do. I mean, let's get the ball rolling, guys. All right, next question
Hmm.
from Lindsay Aspen.
Is
Wants
that Jared's sister?
I don't know.
His
Maybe.
mom?
Yes. Is the Bruce Wayne performance just as important as the Batman performance? Can one exist without the other? Um,
I'd say it's arguably more important.
okay.
Because if you don't care about the Bruce Wayne side of things, then,
Yeah.
it's a failure.
Yeah. Well, here's my point. If you're gonna hire an actor that has a good Batman performance, why wouldn't his Bruce Wayne performance be good? And
Yeah.
if he has a good Bruce Wayne performance, why wouldn't his Batman performance be good? And it is important because as Batman, you have to be a certain type of character, and as Bruce Wayne, you have to be a certain type of character. Like, look especially at what happened in The Dark Knight, the way that they played that off.
Hmm.
Like, the way that Christian Bale portrayed Bruce Wayne is this carefree, I don't really care, whatever, I'm going to do whatever I want. And he did it convincingly, he did it with confidence, and he did it with arrogance, and it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say the Nolan version is my favorite way of splitting up Bruce and Batman because
Yeah.
it's not, Batman is the true persona and Bruce Wayne is the facade.
Yeah.
It's not really that because Batman is this entity that he puts on to channel his rage and stuff. And
Yeah.
then he has the facade of Bruce that helps the facade of Playboy Bruce that helps disguise him as Batman.
Yeah.
But then you got when he's with Rachel, when he's with Alfred, when he's with Fox, you see a true Bruce.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
and that's always been my argument when people are like, who's the real, is it Clark Kent or Superman? Is it Batman or is it Bruce Wayne? And like, it's neither. Those are
Yeah,
both performances they're putting
Right.
on for people at the time. It's when they're people that know who they are. That's the true person. That's always
Exactly.
been my statement. So yeah, I think we never got to see a Bruce Wayne performance outside of just a couple of scenes from Ben Affleck. I would like to have seen Ben Affleck do some more Bruce Wayne type stuff outside of the party when it's Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne coming together. That's probably the one time where he actually did a Bruce Wayne performance.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. That party scene is the main facade Bruce that he puts on.
Yeah.
Uh, but you do get glimpses of, like, an actual Bruce that cares about his employees too. So you get some of that. I would say that Ben Affleck's performance in Batman vs Superman is my favorite of any Batman actor.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would say that I would rank Keaton and Bale above him.
Yeah,
I
for
would
their
say they're
Bruce, because
yeah.
they got to actually do that playboy Bruce Wayne a little bit more than he did.
Yeah, they got to expand the character a bit more than Affleck had the chance to. Or well, when the Snyder Cut drops, we might have to revise that statement. But so far, I would say that.
And it sounds like there's an Australian that has jumped into the chat.
Yeah, I was just waiting for my moment to introduce myself.
Yep. So this is Jared. We went ahead and got started because you said an hour and then you said 30 minutes, and it's been more than that. So we're like, we don't know when he's coming on. So
I didn't want to put on a time in case I couldn't make it, but I knew it'd be at least an hour and a half.
All right, so let's keep it going. We're already at like 21 minutes in. We've got a lot to get through. So, welcome, Jared, to the podcast. And we're jumping right into the next question, which is from Donald, who wants to know, what do you think of the Costner Crowe Disney animated and Men in Tights versions of Robin Hood? I have not seen the Taron Egerton one. No one should see that.
Roger.
Which is the superior Robin Hood movie of these listed? Go ahead, Jared, since you just jumped on. I'll kick it off to you. What is your opinion on that?
Well, it's been a while since I've watched any of them, but I really enjoyed Russell Crowe's Robin Hood movie. Because if I remember correctly, it was kind of more like a band of brothers in a way, with Little Jack and Little John and the other guy. As I said in the document, Men in Tights is pretty hilarious. So they both have really strong points.
Yeah, with Crows, I really liked his the Band of Brothers aspect of it. I thought that was really good. And I was interested in the Robin of Locksley twist that they had on it, that he wasn't actually Robin of Locksley, but he took his identity. Because what comes out of that is really the heart of the movie, that father and son relationship that he forges with Robin of Locksley's father, due to I believe what's going on is the sheriff of Nottingham has had it to where if there's no male heir, the county takes control of the land, so it would go to the sheriff. So he has Russell Crowe's Robin pretend to be his son, and there's great dynamic forges between them. And I've only seen the movie once, but that's stuck with me. That little character dynamic stuck with me really well. I really like that. I probably should go back and rewatch it. I was interested at the time in a sequel, but now I don't really care that much about it, besides maybe going back and digging into the movie that released. But my favorite is Prince of Thieves. I'm a huge Kevin Costner fanboy. I love the guy, and it has awesome set pieces too, and a good main theme, or musical theme. Yeah. I don't think the score overall is that great, but that one theme in it, fantastic. I really love Men in Tights too. I know a lot of people argue it's probably the best overall Robin Hood adaptation ever.
I think Men in Tights is probably one of the best Lampoon type movies.
It truly. And it largely lampoons Prince of Thieves too. It's the main basis of it. I mean, it lampoons other Robin Hood adaptations as well, but it's largely Prince of Thieves, and it may even have a better prison opening
with Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, with Dave Chappelle. I love the fake beards and how they're able to get out of the shackles real easy and get back into them.
Yeah.
The Disney animated. It's been so long since I've seen it, but a shot that always stuck with me is a shot where they're having to pay taxes and put them into the cup.
Robin is playing a blind person.
Yeah, Robin's playing a blind person, and I think it's a guard comes by and he takes the coin out of his cup, right? So when Robin comes to pay taxes, he tosses a coin in and gets 2 out.
Yeah. Yeah, he drops it in real hard to bounce the 2 out, and he takes those 2.
It's always like when I think about that, that movie. I always think about that little shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should watch that one again too. It's been so long.
Yeah.
And of course, I haven't seen the Taron Egerton movie, and
No
I
one
don't think
should.
I ever will.
Yeah, no one should. I haven't seen it either. I just watched the Shadiversity review on it, and it was like, yeah, I don't need to see it. Next question. NVB stands for Never Bitch. NVB. And he wants to know why the Flash solo movie has been in development hell. The original DC movie was announced in 2014 and was supposed to come out in 2018, so we should have had this already. Mm-hmm. It has since gone through several directors. We know the drama and everything of stuff getting cut out, that everyone dropping off. This is not, we don't have to rehash that. Will this movie ever be made? Thank you and God bless. Jared there's a lot of noise coming from him, so I'll just go ahead and let him answer this first since he seems to be eager.
Well, I mean, I haven't really followed the film. Just hear people joining and quitting. But I would say it's because of, like, they have so many story ideas. I don't think they're limited by telling a good story and a good film. I think something's interrupting it, and I reckon it's the Flash TV series. Maybe they don't know when to end that. Maybe it's popular. I don't really know. I haven't even seen the series. But like, what other reason could there be? It's a cool character. It would certainly work in today's market of films. So yeah, it doesn't make sense to me other than something timing related.
I would say the main thing that's stalling the movie is that the studio wants this version, the directors they bring on want this version, and Ezra Miller wants this version. And we've seen that he's had some creative pull on it too. Yeah. He's gotten his own script and had Grant Morrison help him out. And I would say that the studio was probably the ones that were pushing for the Flashpoint. And it seems like all the other creatives don't want to do Flashpoint. I would say that would be the...
Yeah, it has to be something like that, because it was around that time when Kevin Tsujihara was still there, and then he left, and they were going to do this thing, and then Zack Snyder, we know what his Justice League 2 would have been, where Flash goes back in time to warn Bruce, and then there's that whole story, and then they want to do a Flashpoint. Well, we can't do 2 movies with the same plot, right. So what are we going to do? So I think all of that had influence in it. So
yeah, and going back to what we earlier stated, I would love to see the Flash Cyborg movie, and that's what Rick Famuyiwa, or however you pronounce his last name, that's what he was pushing out. Mm-hmm. And he's a good creative force. I liked his movie. I liked his episodes of The Mandalorian. I would be really interested in his version of a Flash movie.
Yeah, is Flashpoint as big as Justice League, like story-wise?
Flashpoint's essentially a Flash-led Justice League story.
I just wonder if maybe it's Warner Brothers trying to really push the machine into that where Marvel is now. They want us.
They want the Avengers.
You have to do it a certain way, because if you go by the comic book Flashpoint, that's like a post-apocalyptic Injustice style of film, which was that's kind of what I'm thinking.
That's the nightmare.
Yeah. That's when they said there's going to be a Flashpoint film, I was like, oh, that's what the Nightmare was setting up in Batman v Superman. That's the Flashpoint film. Then to come to find out, no, there was going to be a Nightmare film and a Flashpoint film. That blew my mind. I'm like, are you serious?
So we saved ourselves from one dystopian future, only to end up in another.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
Who
knows? Maybe there would be some way that they could make it really nihilistic.
I don't know. All right, let's keep going. We got to keep going. We got a lot of stuff to get through. MVB, he's the one to know about Jeff Johns. What are your thoughts on Jeff Johns' involvements with Ben Affleck's Batman and Snyder's Justice League? Did he sabotage the projects? Is he a snake like people claim on Twitter? This was also a question that Frank asked. So we're just going to roll them up and have it into this one with MVB. So what do you guys think of Jeff Johns' involvement?
I reckon he was one of the people pushing for that success that Marvel was getting with their films, and he wanted to emulate that with the DC films. Because I don't know, he seems like he favors popular opinion, and he'd rather just copy someone else's successes. But I don't know, I could be way off the mark. I don't really follow this guy.
Yeah,
Dale, with my limited knowledge on the events, he was head of DC Comics at the time that this was going on.
Yeah, something.
To me, if any involvement that he had in, changing up what the creatives wanted to do, it was probably more like, your classic head executive or head officer he's in his own little bubble and comes in and is like, oh yeah, you guys should probably do this. I would think that was cool. And then moves on. Well, do we do what he said, or do we continue doing our own thing? He pays our checks, or he's technically above us. What should we be doing? That's probably what was going on, in my opinion. I don't think he's like this malicious snake, conniving, whatever, that actively sought to destroy Zack Snyder's vision or anything. I think he was just like, hey, we should probably do this. I think that would work.
Yeah. My opinion is more aligned with you, Dill. He was hired to do a job. They started shooting Justice League before he was even named a producer. Because they started shooting in like April, and it was like May, June, but when he was announced as a producer. So he was just doing what he thought was right. And like he's getting blamed. And that, he did go against Taro. There's those reports that they did butt heads. Because there was that report that Taro was like, why don't you even try using some of my lines? and stuff like that. So he was doing what he was hired to do. If I'm going to blame anybody for ruining Justice League, I'm going to blame Kevin Tsujihara. Because he was the guy that was like, we need to get this done, and we need to get it done before the end of 2017 so we can get our bonuses. So,
and we need to fold to these demands.
Yes. Yeah. So that's who I would blame. Jeff Johns, he did go in, he changed the script, he butted heads with Chris Terrio, but he was doing what he was paid to do. There's not a person on this earth that would say, oh, you're going to pay me millions of dollars? No, I'm not going to do what you're paying me. You're going to do, if someone's paying you millions of dollars to rewrite stuff, you're going to rewrite it. So even though he fucked everything up, I'm going to say he's not the evil monster people are trying to make him out to be. Last question for the opening is from Donald, Rocksteady and Wonder Woman. And we'll break this up. Question number 1. Which character besides Batman should get a Rocksteady game?
Well, I said Deathstroke because it could be fun to sort of... It's like Batman, but the bad guy version, and you could change up the gameplay like that. Like he's more brutal, less forgiving. Batman's he's pretty brutal in this game.
Plus, when you actually kill somebody in the game, they die. It shows them dead. Yeah. Because I've killed lots of people with the Arkham Batman, and they didn't die.
Yeah, they just lay there knocked out.
In Origins, I knocked the dude off like a 12-story building to the road, and I went down it, and it says unconscious.
Yeah, he's got like stars over his head or whatever. Yeah.
What I would want is I was very interested in that Suicide Squad game that they said they were going to do, or that was WB Montreal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But still, I would like that game to come out. Like I would like to have these specialized characters that you have to learn their moveset and stuff, and how they function within the mission, And so like you have like say 12 missions to go on. And you have 6 characters, so you use maybe one of them twice, and maybe inside of a mission you switch between characters after you get like to, let's say, level mission 7, right? I would find that dynamic really interesting, and especially when you start introducing twists and turns in the stories where characters double cross each other and this and that, and say like one of the characters seems to double cross each other, but he's like, say you have Bronze Tiger. Bronze Tiger double crosses everybody at the start of it. Turns out he was doing his own mission directly for Amanda Waller. Whatever.
Wasn't that the Arkham animated movie? It's kind of like that.
I might have just pulled that from my subconscious from that movie. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather just see a new IP. Don't
Just a whole new Rocksteady.
I really like when people do new IPs. Like Infamous is one of my big. Horizon Zero Dawn. I like new IPs. Do something new, original. Put it in some crazy.
What did they do before Arkham?
I think that's what they. I don't know. I'd have to.
I think
look
they did
up.
like a small game or two.
Yeah.
And then they won like the rights to the Dark Knight game. No. The Dark Knight game.
Warner Brothers owns them.
Didn't do it.
They're part of Warner Brothers. So, I don't know if Warner Brothers bought them or Warner Brothers created them, but yeah, they have the license to use anything in Warner Brothers' arsenal. So there's that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, next part of the question is pitch a Wonder Woman movie in 1 or 2 sentences to set up the plot and everything. He lists an example: Wonder Woman battling her way through the underworld to defeat Medusa, directed by Guillermo del Toro. Top this with your pitches. Go ahead, Jared. What's your pitch for a Wonder Woman movie?
Well, this is totally my idea. So, first off, you replace Gal Gadot with Daisy Ridley. Adam Driver will play Zeus.
Yeah, and they have sex. Okay.
And then they fall in love. They get it on. They make
incest. Of course, you'd want an incest movie.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams still. All right.
See, I feel like my joke was better when this was brought up, because I said instead of Adam Driver to play Zeus, I said you'd say Adam Driver to play Ares.
Oh, but isn't he dead already?
Yeah.
He revived himself. Zeus is dead already, you doofus.
Dill, do you have a pitch? Dill, do you have a pitch?
I really want to do the Shazam team up with Wonder Woman, and
we talked about that before, right?
Her gods versus their gods. Mount Olympus versus I don't know what would their pantheon be? The Egyptian gods.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Make it up.
Well, I'd like to see that. I think there's a lot of really cool dynamics to come across between how Shazam and Black Adam would function against somebody like Wonder Woman. She uses the power of Zeus. Technically, both of them use the power of Zeus as well.
Yeah. So my thought is there's a rock, and it's a magic rock that grants wishes. But whenever you wish on the magic rock, it takes something away. So Wonder Woman wishes for Stephen Trevor to come back, and he comes back, but she loses her powers. And a woman that's jealous of her wishes to have powers, and it takes away their humanity and makes her into a cat person. And then Maxwell Lord wishes to have power to rule the world and starts taking stuff away from people. And then a powerless Wonder Woman has to put on a gold suit and battle a Panther Lady and Maxwell Lord. But that's probably the dumbest plot I've ever heard. But maybe if Patty Jenkins directed it, it might be okay. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'd like to see a Wonder Woman movie with a magic rock and Steve Trevor coming back and Wonder Woman losing her powers. Pretty much rehashing Superman 2 from the 80s.
You might as well add in the talking tiger they tried to make.
yeah, and a talking tiger. Yeah. All right.
From the previous Wonder Woman movie that was supposed to come out.
Yeah. All right. So now we've gotten through the questions. We're going to get right into the main topics, and we're going to hit it off with topic number 1: the Bill and Ted Part 3 trailer dropped, and there's been a lot of buzz.
Party on, dudes!
Yeah, party on, man. There's been a lot of positive buzz around it, but for me personally, it was kind of surreal to see Keanu Reeves act like that again, especially when he looked exactly like John Wick. What do you guys think? What did you feel about that when you saw it?
I mean, I love the whole idea of, we haven't wrote that perfect song yet. oh, we can just steal it from ourselves in the future.
Yeah.
I freaking love it. Oh, man. I didn't watch the Bill and Ted movies until, I want to say I was a senior in high school. And so, I mean, like, I fell in love with them when I watched them, but, you know, I'm not as deep-rooted as some people are in it. But I am certainly looking forward to this movie. The trailer wasn't even overly long. I think it was like, what, a minute, 20 seconds?
Yeah, it was a good length.
If that. And, you know, it had me hyped. I love seeing Death or the Grim Reaper.
Mm-hmm.
He's back. That prison that prison stinger.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up, where they're like muscled up. What about you, Jared? Did you have any thoughts on the trailer?
Well, like you, I was kind of just caught by seeing Keanu again. So I'm probably gonna have to watch the trailer again to actually absorb what was happening. But like I saw these movies when I was a kid.
Way to come in here unprepared.
Yeah.
I haven't watched these movies since I was like, I don't know, back in primary school. So it'd be nice to watch them again and then see this one. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yep. Yeah, it's great. They're back. It's one of those weird things. Maybe it's playing off nostalgia to go back to something that's so old. But I'm gonna watch it if it ever comes out. It's supposed to come out this year. We'll see. We'll get into that later. But yeah, so Bill and Ted trailer number 3. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Especially if you're fans of this. If you're not a fan of this, you don't even know what we're talking about, go ahead and watch those other movies, those other Bill and Ted movies. I think there's something you'll enjoy. Number 2. So last week we had a question about the 2020 box office. And something I didn't know, I don't know when this happened, but the Greyhound movie we talked about, which was the Tom Hanks World War II Navy, he's in a U-boat, he's like the commander of a submarine. That's going straight to Apple TV. It will be exclusively on Apple TV. That's the only place you're going to be able to see it on July 10th. Over 100 countries, wherever you have Apple TV, I guess you're going to be able to see it.
Well, Jared said he'll torrent it.
Yeah. But Apple bought the rights for $70 million. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think that 70 was a low, was a high? Like, it's a Tom Hanks movie, World War II. Those are usually successful.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on them just buying it out for that much money?
Well, is it just distribution right? So would they have to pay? They'd still have to pay Sony a sum of, a sum of the profits they get off of it, right? Because if Sony didn't do that, then that was a stupid move.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming they
the only thing that I saw was
profit.
they bought the rights for $70 million. So it may have just been distribution rights. But Apple TV, like, is it like $5 or something? So, $5 a month is how much Apple TV is. So I don't know how they would work in but Apple's got like so much money they could do whatever the hell they wanted.
Yeah.
That's a big topic, I reckon.
Yeah.
How they actually make their money. Because like Netflix is in the whole like $13-something billion.
Yeah. And I want you to keep that in mind when we get down to the HBOmax topic. But you wrote a note here, Jared, that you're surprised at how many views that it had or something.
Well, yeah, because you were talking about how it was coming over to Apple TV, and I went to go check out the trailer because I didn't even know this existed. And it was only just released like a day prior, and it already had over 2 million views. And I just remember, like, even the bigger films like Star Wars, they would take quite a while to get to something like I don't know, 10 million, but that's Star Wars, and this is
the kind of weird thing about that is, so like if it's a YouTube video that somebody's watching, they watch it on Twitter, or they watch it on Facebook, or they watch it on some rando website. YouTube doesn't really capture those views unless you're on YouTube. So counting views is a very not easy thing to do. It's
Yeah.
it's not a full if you get 100 million views on YouTube, you probably had like 300 million views, or you may have had 120 million. You know.
Yeah.
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 But like 2 million views on Apple's own thing, that's really good.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you guys see this as like a trend that's going to start of these movies that are like, hey, it's getting too crowded, let's just sell out to a streaming service?
I reckon so.
To me, that seems very likely. That this is not the only one. There's going to be it's one of the many, the first to come.
I wonder, like, because I don't know what we're going to discuss later, but maybe they're going to find if this does become the norm, they're probably going to find ways to monetize it even more.
Yeah, I can't wait to see New Mutants debut on Prime Video. That's going to be good.
Yeah,
because it's kind of exciting getting like cinematic films.
New Mutants will be a Hulu exclusive.
there we go. Hulu exclusive.
Yeah, because Disney owns Hulu. All right, number 3. Topic 3. So there was a report that's been going all over. This is from Bloomberg and official sources like that. 42%, estimated 42%, around that number, of Chinese theaters will be closing permanently. What does this do, and how does this affect the worldwide box office? Because that's almost half, and everyone's talking about how important China is. So I did some numbers. I did some crunching here. So if we look at Avengers Endgame, it made, of course, $2,700,000,000. We'll just round it to there. The China box office was $600 million. If you take out 42%, then it comes in at $2,500,000. Or $2,500,000,000, which it wouldn't have beaten Avatar, so it wouldn't be the highest grossing movie right now if that had happened. Star Wars, I did the same thing. It would have lost $124 million. Aquaman would not have cracked $1 billion. That would have not have been the DCU's first $1 billion movie if all these theaters were closed, because it would have lost $290 million for a total of $978 million.
You mean 40% of that 291 million?
No, yeah, 40% of that would have resulted. If you take 40% of that box office, it would have resulted in $978 million, so it wouldn't have cracked $1 billion. It would have been close, but it's going to make a difference. Like, these are not astronomical numbers, but they're still that's hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah,
that's going to be lost.
If you see
box office.
My notes below all that, it said that China built nearly 10,000 screens last year, and I don't know what the average is for a new number of cinema screens in a country, but if that's not rapidly expanding, it could eventually be a pretty big contributor to the overall box office in a few years from now.
Yeah. It's a number we don't really know. We don't know which theaters are closing. It's just this concern or this idea that it's going to really affect. Dill, do you have anything to add, or do you have any opinions or thoughts about 42% of Chinese theaters? Does it really matter?
I think it's going to definitely affect your blockbuster tentpoles. I mean, that's a big dip. China is moving to replace domestic box office as your major draw in profit, you know. So them losing 42% of not just of potential theater openings, you know, that's a lot to. That's not something that executives are just going to gloss over. That's something they're going to have to hammer down and figure out strategy for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I don't know how much it's actually going to affect, like more so the 42% might, with an addition of quarantine regulations of how many people can fit in, that number could be bigger than we imagine it to be. That could be an increase of another 20% loss.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely something that's going to draw. I think we went through this whole list of movies that were set to come out this year. That makes me think a few more of those are going to drop out and either postpone or go on to streaming.
Yeah, because they know there's hundreds of millions of dollars that they're not even gonna make if they go worldwide. So
that there's not really a chance to make either.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like there's 58% of theaters are going to be full max capacity.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. So that's a huge hit that's going to hit the theatrical market.
Yeah, and this is along with streaming services, going on an uprise. This could be another thing that kills the big blockbuster.
Which I do think, your big. It's not video on demand anymore, but like your streaming platforms are going to have you to pay to watch the new movie. I think that will sustain your tentpole movies a little bit longer.
Yeah, well, they kind of did that over this pandemic. It was like, hey, if you want to watch this new movie, it's $19.
I do think the budgets for tentpole movies are going to start decreasing.
Yeah.
Because of this dynamic shift.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's definitely going to change we've already seen it from the pandemic. Streaming services are going to take over the theaters. We don't know, like, everyone's, like, in California, I think they're opening today. All the theaters are opening today in California. I'm not 100% sure. I know some are. But the whole face of, or landscape of movies is going to change.
Yeah. Right. There was a huge drawback on mid-budget movies, like $50 million movies.
Mm-hmm.
Not near to not near blockbuster, but not your what's been moving towards the indie or a lot of the Oscar movies. So I think you're going to see a rise of that budget movie coming up.
Yeah.
With the increase of streaming.
Yep. All right, number 4. So this was some recent news that just came out, just edged its way into the podcast. Is AT&T allegedly, according to some reports, seeks to sell the Warner Brothers gaming unit or gaming division, whatever you want to call it. And it's estimated it could be worth about $4 billion. Keep in mind, AT&T has just bought Time Warner, so they're in debt. They're trying to do stuff like HBOmax. They're funding the Snyder Cut. They're doing all this. They're spending money, so they have to do something. So if you're asking yourself, why would you do this? That's why. They are like bleeding money. Especially after spending, I don't even know the amount that they spent to buy Time Warner Brothers.
Right.
So some potential buyers for the Warner Gaming division is Take-Two, Electronic Arts, Activision, Blizzard. Some of the titles that they own, some of the game divisions are Mortal Kombat, Harry Potter, of course, Rocksteady with the Arkham Knight series. And we had a question that I tied this into from an anonymous contributor, was like, if it's sold, what do you think would happen to the Batman? How could it affect the Batman? The movie, I don't think so. The games, I'm not sure. So what do you guys think about this? Like, AT&T is going to sell their gaming division, or it's being considered. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What are some good outcomes? What are some bad outcomes? What's your opinions on that?
Well, Jared's more of a gamer than me, so I'll pass it on to him.
Yeah, Jared, what do you think?
Wow, Dill. I'm not really a gamer. Like I've probably played more games than you have. I only play a specific set of games, and I play them on and off. But I mean, I definitely think they plan on using it for what it's known for, and that's pumping out awesome Batman games. Like, otherwise, like what else is it known for?
Well, they did
Why
the
would
Mad
somebody
Max
buy it?
games.
Oh, okay.
The Mad Max, they did that.
The Mad Max game was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That Fury Road one.
Mm-hmm. Like they said, they own Mortal Kombat and Harry Potter. So
yeah, and of course
I don't know how are the rights going to work? Because okay, you own the gaming division, but they still own the IP.
Yeah. So it seems like they'll still make money off of whatever games are made because of that, right? Since they'll have to license out IPs.
Yeah.
So that's not like them selling it off isn't them completely selling it off. And
Unless there could be
AT&T.
IP issues where they're like, oh, we don't want to license this to you. Oh, you want to make a Batman game? Well, we want this percentage. Oh, we don't want to give you that percentage. So it could affect.
Yeah,
stuff.
that's true. Like, oh, you want to use Joker? Well, that's an extra,
What if they're not pleased with Warner Brothers Gaming? What are they called? Montreal and Rocksteady?
Yeah, WB Montreal.
Maybe they just
that's
want
all I really know of.
Yeah, I honestly don't know much, but I would
which
say
one?
they're not
Which
pleased.
one made the Lego Batman movie games?
That's Telltale Games, I believe.
No, Lego.
Lego, I don't remember, but they also make the Marvel ones.
Yeah, Telltale Games.
Well,
they make those.
WB owns the rights to Lego stuff, so I'm not sure. I don't know.
I reckon it's because they want somebody who can make a game and not take years to do it. Who knows? But
well, to me, what this says is AT&T's priority is in media entertainment. They don't give a shit about the video games. They've doubled down on HBOmax and streaming content for, hey, if you buy our phones, if you get on our cable plan or whatever, you get all this extra stuff. To me, that's what that says, is they're doubling down on that. They've already spent money on it. So now we got to cut the fat, what they see as fat, so we can put more money into the streaming entertainment services.
$4 billion is a lot of fat, eh?
Huh?
$4 billion's a lot of fat, eh?
Yeah. Well,
I reckon, like, seriously, how's it worth that much? Like, that's huge, isn't it?
Well, you thinking about Mortal Kombat, Batman Arkham. We talk about Lego, Mad Max. The Lord of the Rings games. That was some more WB stuff.
I was thinking about the Lord of the Rings games because doesn't now all of the Lord of the Rings Tolkien rights go to Prime? Anything moving forward, right?
Yeah, they spent like $250 million, didn't they, on the license?
Yeah, something like that. But those games still are under WB.
Well, I'm thinking, like, can they make new games?
I don't think they can. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, if they resell the games, of course, those would go to whoever buys the rights to them. But I don't see them making any new games under this deal. Or any new Lord of the Rings.
I reckon it makes sense that they're focusing on one thing, and they're spending a lot of money to make money, but they're going to need some money in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, Larry.
Yeah. So, it's
gamers rise up.
Yeah, it's more the shake-up. AT&T, they're the new sheriff in town. They're shaking things up, and how could it affect the Batman? The movie, I don't think it'll affect that. Future games going forward, who's going to make them? Like, so now it seems like they're going to license out their games to someone else. So if they want to make another Batman game, they've got to say, "Hey, Sony," or "Hey, Take Two," or somebody. They've got to go to somewhere else to actually get those games produced. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I think it. All right. So number 5. Let's keep it going. Evil Dead 4. It's happening. There's another Evil Dead. There was Evil Dead 3, which was Army of Darkness, and then there was the series, which I really liked. It's on Stars or Showtime, I think. I think it's Stars.
And it's currently on Netflix too.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. The original thing was Star, and
yeah.
So the way that series ended, and they said, "Oh, when I saw the headline, Evil Dead 4, oh, they're going to pick up where the series left off," which was kind of like a Mad Max type scenario. But then here is what Bruce Campbell, who plays Ash, the lead character of Evil Dead, he said that it will focus on a female protagonist other than Ash. And he will be producing a more, this is his words, more dynamic entry. Quote from Bruce Campbell, "From this point forward, they have to stand on their own. We want to keep the series current, and the mantra really is that our heroes and heroines are just regular people. That's what we're going to continue." So given that, it's not going to be focused on Ash. It's kind of going to, seems like it's going to be a different story, like somewhere else. Like, hey, this is what happened with the whole Evil Dead invasion, or like, what do you guys think? What are your opinions on one, another Evil Dead, and two, it's not going to be Ash, it's going to be a female-led movie, not even connected to the current continuity?
Money, money, money.
Yeah.
I'm new to Evil Dead. I saw, a couple things happening with it, and I decided, all right, I've seen Cabin in the Woods. I might as well go and watch the OG. And I finally watched Evil Dead, and I gotta say, I wasn't disappointed with it. I knew what it was going into it, but like, it feels like so it's like, I don't know, what, an hour and 20 minutes. It feels like it's a 2-hour movie with all the good stuff, all the good character stuff is nearly cut out. So it feels like it's an odd movie to me, because like it has like some really good horror effects. It's kind of has this humorous quality to it that's really jaded and nasty. But then, like, I'm watching it, and like halfway through the movie, I didn't even understand the dynamics of the characters because there's so little in there. Like, I didn't realize that one girl was his sister. Took me a while to figure out he was dating one of them.
Yeah, and if you watch the second one condenses the first movie in like the first 20 minutes of the second movie.
Yeah, I saw that. I read that after, and it was like, and they had to reshoot it because they couldn't use the actual footage, so they had to reshoot it because they didn't own the rights to their own movie.
Yeah, yeah,
which is funny. But like, I find the angle that we're going back to, our heroes are everyday people, because from my understanding, the second and the third one kind of make Ash, Bruce Campbell's character, out to be, the chosen one, kind of, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like they're reverting back to Evil Dead 1, where he's like the jock character gets killed off. He's the character who gets beat around a lot throughout the movie, and you don't really, he's kind of a more comical character, so you expect him to die. I guess that was what people would, in the early 80s, going in and watching that, would think, right? And yet he turns out to be the hero or semi-heroic guy who, the last one to survive and everything. It seems like they're going back towards that. which I guess would like. I haven't watched the entire series yet. I haven't watched 2 and 3 or the show that they had. So, my opinion isn't as informed as maybe you guys.
Well, I haven't seen any of the films.
Well, so my opinion is better informed than Jared, so that makes sense.
Yeah. But was it is it like a niche thing or is it mainstream? I don't know how popular those films were.
It's a cult classic. Genre. It's like the way that I got into it. I watched it. It was on like Showtime or HBO when I was like not even in high school, like middle school or something like that. It came on like satellite TV, and I watched it staying up one night. And it's like then it scared the shit out of me, and I just wanted to see it again because of how like that scared me. But it was so fucking crazy and ridiculous, and I got my friends to watch it, and we just watched it together. And then we were like, hey, let's watch that movie again. So we would like have some drinks and do some stuff like that. I'll swallow your soul. I'll swallow your soul. It was all this corny stuff that happened. It's gross, and it's just fun.
The girl that gets locked in the basement cracks me up.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like freakish, but
yeah,
it touches a little humor bone in me too.
So to go back to this whole point of there's going to be a 4, and it's not connected to then just make a sequel to the reboot that you did, because they made an Evil Dead reboot that had a female protagonist already. And if that's what you want to do, just make that the part 2. And it was I liked it. The Evil Dead reboot, I thought was a really good movie. They had really good actors. It was gross. It was scary. It was everything that a horror movie should be. I think a lot of people didn't give it justice because, it's a bastardization of our cult classic. Darling.
Didn't Sam Raimi help out the director?
I think so, yeah. So I don't see what the problem is. If you're going to redo it and you want to have a female protagonist, just make a sequel to that. Keep it going. When did that come out? I need to look that up. So the Evil Dead.
I want to say the early mid
2013. So it's a 7-year-old movie. They could just make I don't know. I don't know where they're gonna make this new Evil Dead, stem off from. The 2013 movie was a little bit more brutal and not so hokey and campy as the original, and it was more. It tried to take it seriously, and I liked it, and I think they should just go from there.
I tell you what, the most disturbed I was in watching the Evil Dead was the actual first bit of true horror that happens. It's when the trees come alive and attack old girl. Yeah. Because it gets to a point where it's like, okay, it seems like it's rapish, but it's probably not. And then it gets to the point where it's like, oh, it is rapish. Yeah, it's raping. I'm really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
That was how is that stuff in the reboot?
It's more brutal, like just murder / it's a Cannibal Corpse album. So, that's where I think they should go from. If you're gonna reboot it, they're gonna make a 4. It seems like it's gonna be in the same continuity, but a different character in a different location. So I don't know. When I saw that, I was like, oh, they're gonna pick up where the show left off. They're not gonna do that. Ash is not gonna be a part of it. I'm kind of upset, but I'm kind of not. I'm a Bruce Campbell fan.
Yeah.
Give me some Bruce. Bruce Campbell's not the greatest actor, but I will watch him all day, every day. So give me some Bruce Campbell stuff.
Me and my mom will watch Burn Notice, largely for him.
Yep. In that, and when he was in Hercules and Xena Warrior Princess. He did I forget, he was some kind of mystical thing, but I liked him in that. All right, let's go on to number 6. Wonder Woman has been delayed again. keep in mind, this was a movie that was supposed to come out for holiday season of last year. It would be on HBOmax right now if Patty Jenkins hadn't said we're going to delay it because to be on the anniversary of the first movie, which I have no clue what that reasoning or logic was, other than some kind of sentimental thing. But so they had to move it to August. Now it's October 2nd. This is going to be 2 years after they wrapped principal photography. This is 2 years after they started reshoots. Huh?
If I'm remembering correctly, October had the Halloween movie and the Wes Anderson movie coming out.
Yep.
But you said October 2nd.
Yep. Early.
September has five big and mid-level movies coming out in September. So that's some contention going on there. Whereas August had a similar setup to it, which I guess, I don't know. I guess since it comes out in September, it's coming out after they've had a couple weeks, after the bigger ones have had a couple weeks. So I guess it's a good slot for it, if those movies don't move.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think, Jared? What's your opinion on this? This is, to me, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm thinking they should probably start filming the third one. Because you probably have it done, ready to go by the time the second one comes.
That's something I've thought about. You know, when you have a movie that's near finished, but you haven't released it yet, you're waiting to release it. I feel like you should hire like some writers that are unaffiliated with the movie to come in and watch the movie, and if it's a movie you want sequels to, just unaffiliated people, like known writers, good writers, come in, watch the movie, and say, here, these are some ideas for what you should do next. This is what I think. Rather than just test audiences who, you prompt questions after them after one screening. I would feel like that would be a much better way to expand.
Well, here's one of the things that set that off. This is and this was something I know, Jared, you wanted to talk about, was Tenet is now July 31st. They pushed that back. So I think the philosophy is they wanted to separate Wonder Woman from Tenet, so they both had breathing room to make money at the box office. So I know that, like I said before, in California, theaters are open today. Maybe it was just in LA, maybe it's just in certain counties. I'm not 100% sure. Don't shoot me in the face over that. But I know that there are some So there is this insistence from Christopher Nolan to put Tenet in theaters. But it's been pushed back so it can be in theaters.
Right.
Is this a positive or a negative thing? What do you guys think? What?
I know when I was first talking about, it wasn't on the podcast, but when I was first talking about movies that could come out this year, I was saying I would place Tenet at the very end of July or early August. Because I feel like that's the best spot for a big movie to start out, And especially if you build up that Tenet is, if you make it about not just the movie, but about bringing revenue back into your local theater. The theater that you've seen all these Marvel movies, all these, Disney movies, all these, special movies to you that you've seen and grown up with. Support these theaters. We'll bring back some revenue. We'll keep them alive. If you make a campaign based on that, and that it's a Christopher Nolan movie, I think you have a winning film, a winning marketing strategy.
Yeah. Did you guys ever see that article that Chris Nolan wrote on Washington Post?
Nope.
He talks about
I have not.
He talks about why film is so important to our culture, and to me, what it says is that, and this probably isn't true, and it doesn't make any sense. But I feel like Chris Nolan is taking it upon himself to get the ball rolling again with cinema. He is going to take a gamble with his film because he cares about it so much. Maybe he doesn't know if it's going to be as financially successful as his other films, but he just wants to get things back to normal.
Christopher Nolan has a history of campaigning for celluloid, and maintaining, actual, operators for for your theater screens. What do you call that, Larry? Your
What?
projectionists.
Okay.
Bringing back projectionists and all that stuff. So he has he even went to India and helped in India develop bringing back projections and all that stuff, teaching them how to project celluloid films and all that. So he has a known history for this and a known passion for it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, fold that into your marketing strategy for this movie.
Well, is that going to appeal to people though? That's the thing. If you put something in marketing, it has to have a relevance for your target audience.
Well, the relevance, I'd say, is in keeping theaters open. If people have a nostalgia for theater.
I think a mini doc.
Yeah.
Put that on your HBO Max. You need some. You need content. You need original content. So yeah, there you go.
A 20-minute, 30-minute doc on Christopher Nolan's campaign to keep theaters open. Bam.
Yeah. There you go. All right, number 7. Let's keep it rolling. Number 7. DC Daily has been canceled. Show Us No More, which was the DC Universe exclusive show, which had some of our favorite people like
Hector Navarro.
Hector Navarro. We all love him.
Hector!
So that was the only original show that I know of that is still on DC Universe. So, and it's canceled.
Yeah, everything else has moved over to Max, right?
Yeah, Stargirl is not exclusive. It's on CW.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn, the cartoon, is on CW. Doom Patrol is on HBOmax. And we don't know about Titans yet. But there's no exclusives to DC Universe now. The fact that DC Daily has been canceled, they say it's because of production, but the numbers have not looked good for a long time. They're like, oh, it was just too hard to produce. How is it hard to produce? It takes like $3. You have 2 people get on a webcam, and you give a guy $50 for giving you like 3 minutes of dialogue. It's not hard to produce. It's not difficult to produce. But that was their excuse. To me, they're finally like, look, this ship is sinking. It's going downhill. Let's just cut our losses and cancel this thing. What do you guys think? What's your opinion on this?
I mean, I was more surprised that the show was running than that it was getting canceled. I thought it had been canceled a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I never hear anything about that show beyond when it first got announced.
It's DC. People paid by DC to talk about DC. So, what could it be? Jared, what do you think? What's is the writing on the wall? Is this just going away?
Cut your losses. It's gone. It's out of there. It's got to go. I mean, I forget what it was called, but I stumbled upon this website. It was DC something, and the slogan was like, all your favorite DC films in one place, something like that. And they just had like an array of like all these different covers for movies, TV series, and it just made me wonder. Warner Brothers seems to have a lot of separate divisions for all their different products, like HBO now, HBO Max, this DC. I forget. I can't remember the name, but like everything just seems spread out. It's not all in one place. Like now, HBOmax is getting. Wait, that's a later discussion. So yeah, just can it. Put everything into one place. Make it simple for people.
Yeah, I agree. It's I don't even know why they started this venture, because when DC Universe was announced, there was also the rumor that there was going to be an HBO or WB
That's right.
streaming service. So when it got announced, I was like, why? You're going to do something else later. So maybe that was to test the waters. I'm not sure. And like we're going to get into later, a lot of DC stuff is it's crazy. We're not what's going on with DC. So speaking of DC, now let's get into the two biggest topics we have. Topic number 8. A couple of episodes ago, we talked about how there was going to be a Man of Steel 2, possibly rumored from J.J. Abrams, involved in some point. This was from John Campea. Said that J.J. Abrams was involved as a producer or a writer in some capacity for a new Superman movie. It was being considered. Henry Cavill was going to come back and be Superman. He was going to be the Man of Steel again. Here is the latest we have, that Man of Steel 2 is off the table. These rumors indicate that WB has no faith in a Henry Cavill Superman movie because of perceptions of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman and Justice League, whatever. I'm not sure. So they would rather see him in a Hulk-like role. And here's where I take offense to this notion, because they say, as Marvel chose to do with Hulk. Marvel didn't choose that because Paramount, I think it's Paramount, right?
Yeah, Paramount. Universal.
Universal owns the distribution rights to Hulk. So they can't make a Hulk movie, because if they did, it'd be like the same thing with Sony that they have right now.
Yeah, I don't think the Universal was as friendly as Sony was after the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah. Yeah, so I take umbrage with that. So
yeah, and I feel like it's more so to do, rather than Man of Steel and BVS's reception. I think it's more so that they see Henry Cavill as more of a Sam Worthington or Taylor Kitsch. These are actors that were seen that they were going to be, franchise leaders and big A-list actors, and yet they failed to lead movies to successes besides a few,
Yeah. Well,
I feel like that's where they see. I think they see Henry Cavill as that type of actor. Where he has a fan base, he has some leading role potential, but he's not a box office draw. I think that's how they see him.
Yeah, but to play on that, like movies that he's led, they're like Blood Creek, which was a movie no one saw.
Mm-hmm.
He led Man of Steel. You could argue that he...
Immortals,
which wasn't a big movie either.
Yeah.
You could argue that Ben Affleck led as Batman v Superman. There's an argument there. He didn't lead in Justice League because he was only in the movie for like 30, not even 20 minutes. We don't know what Zack Snyder had planned. But I still don't think he was in there a lot.
And then in his biggest movie after... Justice League was Mission Impossible 6. He was the villain, but he was a co-villain,
Yeah. Yeah, so you don't have a strong leading role. His biggest leading role was Man of Steel and The Witcher. And The Witcher is a streaming show on Netflix.
And he shares The Witcher with 2 other people.
Yeah.
He's a semi-lead of a 3-pronged lead cast.
Yeah. And you could make the argument that the girl that plays not Siri. Yennefer is the lead. You could make that argument. Because if you count screen time, I don't think he has of Yennefer, Ciri, and Geralt. I don't think he has the biggest amount of screen time. So, yeah.
I will say he does carry a good commanding presence in
Oh
the
yeah.
show and feel
Oh
of it.
yeah.
But
I'm not going to argue
I think
that.
he might. I think you might be right. I think Yennefer may have an edge on screen time. I'm not.
Yeah.
Now, Siri has the lowest, I would say, or maybe it feels the lowest. But yeah,
Yeah, I think it's Yennefer, then Geralt, then Ciri. As far as screen time goes, as far as like impact, as far as what people took away from it, I think it was his performance because there's all the memes of fuck. Like that's just all over the place. Like the stuff that he did was so great in that, but that's probably where he's destined to be.
oh yeah, he has a leading man charisma. I'd say it's
Yeah.
just for some reason I don't think he's quite clicked with the general audience so far.
Well, he needs to be given a chance, and I think the chance he was given in The Witcher shows that potential.
I really would hope that he gets a proper Man of Steel 2.
Yeah.
You know, I
They
really
should
hope
roll
that he
the
gets
dice.
that chance.
They should roll the dice and say, "Here, let's do a Man of Steel 2. Here it goes. Let's give it a shot and see
Heck,
the reception
I'd be fine with it
based
as
on
an
that."
elsewhere, as a a multiverse, whatever, where it's disconnected from Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman. I'd be okay with that as long as he's the lead and he's got most of his cast back.
Well, he wants to do what was
For
it?
Tomorrow, right?
For Tomorrow, yeah, Jim Lee's For Tomorrow. He wants to do something like that, which was what I thought when the first time I saw Batman v Superman, and there was the what was the Russian guy's name?
KG Beast.
KG Beast. Where
Yeah.
they were setting him up like he did the atrocities. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, they're going the For Tomorrow route. Because in the For Tomorrow route, there's this guy that's trying to set up Superman. He like scorches the earth in the shape of a Superman S. So that's what I thought. And I could see that. Like, he's going into places. And in Batman v Superman, he goes to Africa, wherever.
Right.
What is it? Somalia, Mogadishu, wherever she's at.
I believe it's Somalia that it occurs.
If it's not, that's what it looks like. Anyways, so, and that's kind of the way that For Tomorrow plays. Is he's on like these war-torn countries, and he's trying to take down these leaders, and they have a super-powered, like, bad guy that can cut Superman. But anyways, that's where I thought they were going. But he could go there with that.
I will say I feel like they could have strengthened that aspect of Batman vs Superman, because that should have been a bigger media presence that Superman supposedly wiped out all these men, and like Lex Luthor's using the media to attack Superman too.
Yeah. And that's the way it was in For Tomorrow.
Yeah, it feels so neutered now that I look back on it in that aspect of it, and it kind of cuts down the impact of that opening. You know, when he, yeah. Let's move on, I guess. I won't spend too much time on this.
Well, I could spend all day on this, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
I agree. To see him again as a Hulk type thing or whatever, where they have an Aquaman movie and Superman's in it, like we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Is the Hulk role? I would like to see that, but I'd rather see a Superman movie. I want to see Henry Cavill in a Superman movie. Take that chance, give him that role, and just let it develop.
Yeah.
Just let it
develop.
develop.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't mind him popping in on Aquaman 2, popping in on Shazam 2, but give him Man of Steel 2.
Yeah. He needs
Guys, when I saw Shazam, that last scene in the cafeteria, that killed me, because it wasn't like it felt like they were already starting the disrespect train on Henry Cavill. with that little cameo.
Yeah.
It
Headless
was like,
Soups and that
we want you to know that Superman
awful
still
Justice League suit.
exists, but we're probably gonna recast him.
Yeah.
Like Henry Cavill, he's a good dude, and he works hard too. So.
Oh yeah, he's been working out. Remember, Larry?
Yeah.
Oh man, this is a
There's that
conversation.
picture. That picture. Go to his Instagram. He's like, "Hello, old friend," and there's that picture of him. He looks like The Rock.
Yoked.
Yeah, he's yoked. All right. Number 9. Number 9, and this is the last and main topic for the whole podcast. DC films are being pulled from HBOmax. This is we talk about HBOmax all the time, and I think it's it's important. The Snyder Cut's going to be on it.
All right.
I have it. It's relevant to me. There's stuff on there that I enjoy, but depending on what you want, it may not be there, because a lot of movies are going to be off of this by the 1st of July, next month. Dill, can you do me a favor and go ahead and read these? These are the movies that are going to be off of here by July 1st. Go ahead.
All right. Batman, Batman Forever, Batman Returns, Batman and Robin, Batman v Superman, Catwoman, Jonah Hex, Justice League, the Lego Batman movie, The Losers, Steel, Suicide Squad, Teen Titans Go, To the Movies, yeah, Wonder Woman animated, and Wonder Woman, the 2017 Patty Jenkins.
Yeah. So those are the live action, or not live action. Those are the DC movies that are getting pulled from the service. So
and that's yeah, BVS, Justice League, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman are getting dropped.
Yeah. So
way ahead of the Snyder Cut coming out. You'd think they'd want to keep these movies on there just to keep people who want to see the Snyder Cut watching those at least, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's one interesting thing to note. So for Dill and for Jared and anyone listening, all the DC movies that are getting cut live action from the DCEU, Batman v Superman, Justice League, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, are all the movies prior to Justice League. They're all the movies that Zack Snyder had direct involvement in.
Right.
So go ahead and go down to DC movies that will remain.
The two notable ones you got marked are Aquaman and Shazam. Along with, a slew of other, like The Dark Knight Returns, Gotham Knight, Return of Joker from Batman Beyond, Green Lantern, Joker, Joaquin Phoenix. But specifically, Aquaman and Shazam are staying.
Yeah. And those are the post-Justice League movies. So, is this a distribution rights thing? Or is this hey, these are the movies we would just want to, get rid of and we don't want to acknowledge anymore?
It's a very weird topic because you know how streaming services, they constantly cycle movies in and out. Is this just they're cycling these out and they're going to bring them back in 3 months? I don't know. I wish they would at least give us a plan of, the next cycle of movies. Give us a heads up of, hey, don't worry, these movies are come back later on.
Mm-hmm. What if it's to tie in with the Snyder Cut release? Like they want to start like a promotional thing next year, and they'll be able to hype
wait
it
till
up.
2021.
Right?
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Bring those movies back.
Yeah, because it might give them more attention. Maybe they've got a new audience that isn't too familiar with
So why not just take Justice League out and leave Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, and Wonder Woman, and then bring in Man of Steel?
They would have got so much clout on Twitter if they had left Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, and pulled Justice League. They'd have got so much clout if they had done that, Larry.
Yeah, that would have been more free marketing.
Lovers. Yeah.
Can you find these movies elsewhere?
I tried. I don't know. I tried looking and I didn't see anywhere, but I think it's an issues right because what HBO Max replaced HBO Now. And what HBO Now was the cable service. It was the regular cable service. So, and the cable service cycles out movies. Right. So, we're going to have these movies and then we'll cycle them out and have some more movies. But that's not how streaming services should work. No. So, to me, whoever organized this didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
There's typically, you keep a base set of movies and shows that never really leave, right?
Yep.
Or stay long enough that where it seems like they never leave. And then you have like these outlier movies that you shuffle in and out. Or at least that's what I've noticed from Netflix.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Netflix.
Netflix doesn't shuffle out the movies they own the rights to.
Right. You know,
and that's what's happening here.
They keep that core set where you go in there, you know you're going to come across this movie when you're on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
HBO needs to build that core set of films. They need to have an identifier. These movies are always going to be there when you come on HBO Max.
Like, surely they're going to have those films back on at some stage, but why even take them off if not for something like the Snyder Cut? Like, I honestly think that it's going to be part of a marketing push next year.
I don't know. I don't think it's part of a marketing push. I think it's a rights push. Maybe they promise these will go on to Showtime or something like that. I'm not sure. It's like the Fox movies. The X-Men, there are X-Men movies that are on HBO Max right now because they signed a contract before Disney bought them that, hey, these movies will come to you. Like Alita Battle Angel and X-Men First Class. They're on HBO Max because Fox signed a contract with Warner Brothers HBO. Hey, here's some movies we're going to let you use for your service. I think it's something like that, but I don't know. Like, why would the service hasn't even been up a month, and they're already saying, "Hey, we're gonna." Dill, could you go ahead and read the other films that are leaving?
All right, so they're getting rid of American Wedding, Black Klansman, Braveheart, Gran Torino, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, The Hobbit trilogy, The Meg. Practical Magic, Pretty in Pink, Selena, Shutter Island, Sisterhood of Traveling Pants, Tropic Thunder, 2 Weeks Notice, Unfriended the Dark Web. I'm not familiar with that, and Us.
Yeah, so there's a lot of big, like the Hobbit trilogy.
Yeah,
they're getting rid of that. Gran Torino, Braveheart. Those were some that I had on my list to watch.
Shutter Island.
Yeah. That was another one.
How do you get rid of Us, too? Like, is there any big streaming platform that has Us? Like, that's a relatively new, and Jordan Peele's hot. I don't know why you would get rid of that in the first month. Especially when he has Candyman. Candyman's coming out in September, something like that, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't get that. I there's so many things that they've done with this launch that seems just so baffling. You know, they don't have it available on Fire Stick, right?
Yeah.
They don't.
So
they promised a bunch of movies on there that weren't there at the launch, right?
Yeah, like all the Nolan films.
Yeah, they're getting rid of all these movies before a month, or like they're announcing their release before a month. I'm baffled. I'm constantly baffled by how they're handling this launch.
Yeah, it seems like Justice League. They just rushed they tried to rush to a conclusion without building it up. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's
Larry.
Yeah.
Do they have any announcements of like new content for the
Nope.
Other than the Snyder Cut? Okay.
There was some show that I saw the other day that's gonna come, but it's like a real
they got the Elmo
niche.
talk show.
Well, no, not even that. It's like it stars ethnic girl. Um, I don't even. It's like a romance. It's another like romance
What?
niche thing
Ethnic
with.
girl.
Yeah, I don't know how else to say it. She's a girl, and she's not white. I don't know what she is, and that's the show. That's all I know about it. Is there's a show. She's not white, and it's a show. I don't know. I don't know if she's Native American. I don't know if she's from India. I don't know who she is because they
have no idea who
haven't
you're talking
advertised it. They haven't said. I don't even know what the show is, and I follow this platform. I subscribe to it, and I'm like, what is this show? What is it about? It's about a girl, and she's not white. That's all I know. Like, what is that? What is that?
Oh man.
I should check this show out. Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting.
I don't even
Sounds
know.
like a real mystery.
Yeah. But that gets in my frustration of it's just pandering.
Hmm.
You know? And so, all right, let's move on. It's still going on HBO Max. So, last podcast, maybe not in the last, the podcast before this, we talked about how there were 87,000 downloads and logins. That's the key.
Logins.
Yeah. They logged in and made an account or opened an account. Android says 10 plus million downloads to date, right now. I couldn't pull anything off Apple. I looked. I couldn't find anything on Apple. But Android says 10 plus million downloads. That doesn't mean that 10 plus million people have actually made an account. 10 plus million have downloaded the app. So I don't know what that means for the numbers. Again, HBO Now, which HBO Go took over, or HBO Max took over. So that's 10 mil. There's 8 million. They're guaranteed. There were 14 million people subscribed to HBO on cable, and HBO Go, which was if you subscribe on cable, you get HBO Go. That's going away, and it's only going to be HBO Max. So there was all this confusion on what do I get, what do I don't get. They said fuck it. There's HBO Max is the only streaming service now. So there's 8 million from HBO Now. There's 14 million from HBO Go. So that's potentially, add that up for me, 32 million.
14 plus 8.
Yep.
14 plus
69
8 is 22.
Yeah, 22 million. So that's the potential numbers just carrying forward from what they've already had. So that's successful.
Yeah.
If you want to frame it that way.
If you want to frame it that way.
Yeah, if you want to frame it that way. Like 22
That's gonna be it.
million subscribers
From
is a
a
successful
certain
number.
point of view.
Yeah, from that point of view. So if you're going to say fuck it, we don't have any streaming services, HBO Max, and I guarantee that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I guarantee when we get to like October, they're going to say we've got 3 million subscribers, 30 million subscribers. They're going to put that out.
My thing is if it's 10 plus million downloads, right?
Yep.
And it's not counting actual login, new accounts or accounts, right?
Yep.
That could easily be all right. 4 downloads per account.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a quarter of the 10 million.
Yeah.
That's 2.5 million
Yep.
new people.
Yep, because you can have multiple streams. I think you can have like 3 streams per account.
Oh, 3. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, so
Who
I would
knows?
say that 10 million is more likely to be 6 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to think of all the people that already had HBO Now and it was just automatically converted, so they're going to count that as you download it to upgrade. And then you're going to say, oh, people that were just curious is like HBO Now. Let me see what this is. Oh, I got to pay for it. I don't because people are stupid like that. They'll download it because they don't know. And then people that had HBO Go, people that lived outside the U.S. that don't have access to it will try to download it and see if they can get into it. It's a workaround. That's going to happen too. So we don't know what that 10 million means.
I didn't even take that stuff into account.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to take into account. But still, looking at this, they're taking all these movies away. What are they doing? It's confusing. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. They're like I said, I highlighted all the stuff. All the pre-Justice League movies are leaving. Are they coming back? I think eventually they will. But why would they be leaving now? I don't know. This is crazy. Like you read off, Black Klansman, Braveheart, Gran Torino, Harold and Kumar, the Hobbit trilogy. Why are these movies leaving? You own the rights to these movies. Why are they leaving?
Sounds like it could be a real issue that they haven't disclosed to anybody. Because it's strange that they're getting rid of their own products.
Yeah.
And Gran Torino, come on, that's a good movie.
Yeah. I had it in my queue to watch again.
Yeah.
Thankfully,
that's an awesome movie.
Yeah. Thankfully, none of the Criterion Collection movies are leaving because that's mostly I'm seeing all these old movies I've never seen before. But anyways,
could it be? Is it a space issue or like a rights issue?
I don't know. We just know those are leaving.
Maybe they opened too soon. Maybe they announced it too soon and they could have waited a few months.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said earlier. It's like they rushed to it like Justice League.
Warner Brothers.
All right, now we've gotten through all the main topics. Let me pause.
Let's roll.
Okay, so now comes the part of the podcast where we get to user questions, mostly people from the community, but not limited to that. So if you wanted to ask a question and it's kind of cringy and it's embarrassing, go ahead and just go to the MCMdebates.com, click on that button, fill out that form, and we'll answer it to you. Remember, the only thing that's required is the subject and the message. You don't have to put in a name or anything else. So, first question from our good friend Marvel Troll, podcast question: where does Batman being raped in prison originate, and is it comic book accurate?
Oh my god.
Also, Ben Affleck is the one true Batman, changed my mind. So, is Batman being raped in prison comic book accurate?
Okay, so I've got the quote pulled up.
Yep.
So it was a Zack Snyder interview during the Watchmen press tour, and somebody apparently asked him about Batman Begins, and he said, "Everyone says that, or about Batman Begins being dark." Zack Snyder says, "Everyone says that about Batman Begins. Batman's dark." I'm like, okay, no, Batman's cool. He gets to go to a Tibetan monastery and be trained by ninjas. Okay, I want to do that. But he doesn't, get raped in prison. That could happen in my movie. If you want to talk about dark, that's how that would go.
Yeah.
Well.
So he's like, basically he's like, that's cool. I'd like to do that too. I'd like to go to a Tibetan, because that seems like he's downplaying it to me.
Yeah.
He's saying that going to a Tibetan monastery and getting trained by ninjas is something he would like to do himself. But if you want dark, he'll have Batman getting raped in prison because he's a lolly fanatic,
Yeah. Well, to me, it seems more like he's attacking semantics with that.
Yeah, I'm being facetious.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't get about a lot of stuff I say, but I'm being facetious because I'm saying he's downplaying the whole. Oh yeah, well that's cool, but I'd like to do that too. Like who wouldn't want to do that? But
Yeah.
you want dark? I'll give you dark. Like,
well, when you put that into context of what he did in Batman vs Superman, what he did with Bruce is that he took away all of his hope in humanity, all of his hope in his mission, all of that out, and made him, jaded and hateful and spiteful, and against a being who made him feel as powerless as he did when he was a kid watching his parents get shot down. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what he means by attacking this dark statement.
Yeah.
Honestly, Ben Affleck's Batman, the whole thing is probably one of my favorite characterizations of Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Right, yeah. Before you came on, I was talking when Larry and I were talking. I said that Ben Affleck's portrayal of Bruce Wayne and Batman is my favorite of any actor in Batman vs Superman. Like single film, Ben Affleck takes it away from me. Better than Bale, better than Bale in The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises. Better than Keaton in Batman Returns. However, I give the edge to them on their overall portrayal because, they get the expansion here. They get to try this. They get to do that. They get a little bit more, and they have stellar performances too. So I wouldn't say I would say Christian Bale. I would argue that Christian Bale is the better Batman. And I won't change your mind here because it'll take too long, but I'll have a forum battle with you, Marvel Troll.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm stubborn. Val Kilmer is my favorite.
Val Kilmer is Jared's original Adam Driver, guys, if you didn't know.
That is really accurate, not gonna lie.
All right. So another from Marvel Troll. New Superman. And Marvel Troll wants to know thoughts on a possible new Superman based on the Chinese Superman, Kong Kenan. So, for those that don't know, there was in the comics, they did a Chinese Superman called Kong Kenan, who was, I forget how he got his powers. It was like after New 52 Superman split apart or something. I don't know. With the demand for diversity, even on this podcast, I agree. What do you think of AT&T and Warner making a film based around the new Superman? He can fight the China virus as his first major villain.
Oh boy.
All right. Also, what about an Earth 2-esque Superman created from the clone? I think I talked about that when we first started.
Yeah. You talked a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we already talked about that. P.S. Jared
with
is
Michael
gay.
B. Jordan.
Yeah. P.S. Jared is gay. Yeah. So Michael B. Jordan, Superman, I'm all for it. Chinese Superman. Okay. I mean, other than to appeal to the market, which is going to lose 42% of its theaters, why would you want to do that?
I will say that Justice League Gods Among Us, that Zod Superman, that dude is a really cool character. I mean, that's the only exposure I have to the Zod-fathered Superman, but I really enjoyed that characterization. So, I don't know about Kong Kenan, but I would like that Zod.
Okay, so to caveat off that, the PS5 event was this week, and they had Miles Morales as the next Spider-Man video game. and we saw Miles Morales is the main protagonist for Into the Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm.
So is that setting up Miles Morales to take over or to be the alternate? Because I don't know what the rights are with Disney and Sony. So Peter Parker is with Disney. Can Sony set up a Miles Morales Spider-Man
live action
for their own universe outside of the MCU with Venom and Morbius that we know is coming out?
Right. I don't know. I think there's a lot. Miles Morales has a lot of what you call it? He's got a lot of fire under him right now. You know, Spider-Verse had a big impact. A lot of people liked him on the PS4 game. Now he's getting his own PS5 game. I feel like that would be a smart move on Sony's part. Although Sony's not always known to make smart moves like Warner Brothers.
Yeah. It just made me think about that.
I would definitely be down for a Miles Morales live action. They are doing a Spider-Verse 2, but I don't know anything on it production-wise. Do you know anything on that, Larry?
Nope. I just know that it's happening. I don't know what it's going to be about. I don't know what universe it's set in. I assume Miles Morales is going to be the main protagonist.
Yeah.
I don't know if Peter Parker's going to play into it at all.
Right. The end stinger has Spider-Man 2099 in it. So maybe some time travel elements as instead of or in addition to the multiverse hopping, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but as far as Superman goes, I mean, if they want to do a Superman movie in the vein of Into the Spider-Verse, I'm for it. You could do that. Test the waters. have an Asian, a black, a white, whatever you want to do. You could have a
Brandon Ruth comes back.
Brandon Ruth comes back and voices a Samoan Superman. There you go. Yeah,
I thought you were going to say an animated Superman, but no.
Yeah, well, it is animated. That's what I'm saying. Would you do an animated...
Just do an animated
like
Superman
Crisis?
Spider-Verse?
Yeah,
Superman
Crisis
verse.
movie. Yeah, where you have all these different Supermen that come in. So there you go. That answers the question. So, China... You want to do China or Superman? Go ahead. Here you go. Anyways, next question. NVB, your favorite DC scoop. What's your favorite DC scoop of all time? For me, it's a toss-up between Lex Luthor, Metropolis, black back tattoo, former street gang leader, and Nolan Bale returning for Justice League, and Eli Snyder playing Robin in BVS, like Zack Snyder's son is going to play Robin in BVS. What's your favorite scoop?
I've got to say mine would also be the Lex Luthor one, like the 17-year-old Lex Luthor who goes out onto the streets and like a year later he's the king of the streets, and then he makes billions of dollars from, organized crime and then legitimizing into like Lex Corp, right? And then he's got the entire Metropolis skyline tattooed on his arm or back and all this stuff. That was my favorite. It's so because it's so ridiculous and it's so interesting at the same time. Like that's something I would like. Oh, I'd actually be interested in watching that.
I can't really remember any particular scoops, to be honest.
You don't remember the Wallace Keefe character since he had the green leggings. Everybody said, "Oh, he's Metallo." No, he's Flash.
Yeah. He's Flash. He's Flash. He's playing Flash. He's got the green leggings on because his feet are moving so fast.
Which doesn't make any sense because if they were doing that with his legs, wouldn't they do the same with his arms?
Yeah. So
It's just,
my favorite scoop was the whole Ben Affleck is playing Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke. He's not playing Bruce Wayne, and they're he's filling in for Bruce Wayne, which will be played by Christian Bale later. So Christian Bale's coming back as Batman. Ben Affleck is playing Slade Wilson, and the reason is that Man of Steel was the fourth film in the Dark Knight saga. And that BVS was the fifth one because the V...
that's what the beast.
The V in BVS was a 5. And it was the fifth film. That was the reasoning behind it. And it also...
Dude.
To caveat off that, the Joker was Jason Todd.
Which
and there were
is
like,
actually John Blake.
Well,
if it's
well, I'll get to that. Hold on, I've got to
okay.
So there's holes in the Robin uniform, and then there's like pictures of like the Joker reveal where he's like got his hands on his head, and he's saying, "Oh, these are the scars." If that's true, where the hell was Jason Todd in the previous Batman movies? Where were they in the Dark Knight movies? That's what I'm saying. That's my point. Like, okay, so if these are continuations, then where was that character in the previous movies?
You know, BVS had all the best scoops and rumors, you know, because they also had the Batman is fighting crime via drone, locked up in his Batcave.
I remember that. So there was like that scene of the Batwing shooting up the guys in the trucks that were shooting at him, and it was like, no, that's Lex Luthor's drone.
He's using that to frame Batman.
Yeah, he's using it to frame Batman to cause trouble, so Superman will intervene.
And then, dude, a good one was actually that Aquaman had come to the surface, you know, mad about oil spills and this and that.
Yeah, after Superman.
Pollution.
After Man of Steel. And then there was the one that in the trailer you saw Superman kneeling before Lex Luthor.
And they thought it was Bizarro.
It's Bizarro. That was another one.
And even after Doomsday was revealed, people were still going, but Doomsday is not even the big one. It's actually Bizarro. Bizarro is still the bigger threat.
I still haven't. Hold on. I'll just type in Yahoo because I have it in my favorites.
Oh, while you're doing that, the drone pilot.
Yeah.
What's his name? Oh, MVB knows his name by heart. Oh,
Dave
God,
Van Boyer?
Yeah, Ambroyer. Amboyer, something like that. Dan Amboyer. Oh my goodness. And that dude put on the whole flight suit jacket, or not flight suit jacket, the whole aviation leather jacket and everything. Put on the aviator sunglasses.
And he's Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, he's Hal Jordan.
That dude used that for so much clout.
Yeah. So this is an article from December 13th, 2015. Larger threat than Doomsday teased for BVS. And it's saying, basically it's saying that Doomsday is not the biggest threat. That's not the end of the movie. That's like midpoint. That there's a bigger, like, people thought this movie was like a 7-hour long saga.
Yeah.
With all this stuff shoved into it. We're going to get Bizarro. We're going to get Darkseid. We're going to get Slade Wilson. Like, what the hell were people thinking at that time?
I'm going to say one name to you. Scott Eastwood.
Nope. Yeah. Yeah.
Suicide Squad. He was supposed to be playing either Dick Grayson or a young Slade Wilson.
And he's played a jackass that died.
Wait. We haven't got the Ire cut yet, so we don't know if it's legit.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next question. Speaking of that, NVB again. Army Hammer. There was a photo on Twitter of Army Hammer and Jason Manganiello in his kitchen. Jason Manganiello is also played Deathstroke, or was going to play Deathstroke. Do you think they were just trolling, or was Army going to play a DC character? I don't think they were trolling. I don't think he was going to play a DC character. I think they were just hanging out.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think there's anything to it other than that.
No, he was going to play the real Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Green Lantern.
Ben Affleck was a mangled Deathstroke clone. You know. And Armie Hammer was the true Bruce. So the rumors are right, man.
Yeah, the rumors were right. Okay, next question. From Mario. Definitely your dad, Mario. When are you inviting the filthy ethnics Andre, Sandino, Lewis, and Ping Pong, all the phony fakers? Andre,
I won't DM
Lewis,
them. I will not DM them, but I'll ask if they'll kindly DM me, Mario.
Yep. I'm willing, because through my personal account, I have been telling Lewis that he's a piece of shit. But he doesn't know about the MCM account.
Right.
I'll ask him to come on the MC account through the MCM account.
I feel like if we get Louis Centeno, we can get Andre Cedeno.
Yeah.
That's a big fish that I want.
Yep. So,
very big fish.
So, would you guys be willing to go on Lewis's show? Because I think he doesn't want to come onto our show. He wants us to come onto his show.
If Dill does, I'll consider it.
Okay.
I'd be for it, as long as I'm available whenever he does it.
Yeah, we'll have to see about that. Well, let's look at availability, and we'll pitch that and say, hey man, I really support you and what you do. I want to be on your show, but these are the only times I can come on. Me and my team, we're trying to build stuff up. We just support the Snyder Cut. Batman is going to come out on HBOmax. I believe what you say. Ben Affleck is definitely coming back to do a lesser role on a streaming service that is fucking shit the bed on its inception.
He was the only one reporting that Wonder Woman was gonna get moved in April.
Yeah,
he's the only one.
Only one. Well, why didn't anyone else tweet about it? Because they were writing articles, you fucking shithead.
I don't want to talk to that guy. Sorry.
You want ping pong instead? Let's get ping pong. Let's get on ping pong show.
He sounds more pleasant.
We can read tweets out loud with ping pong. We can read articles with ping pong. We'll share paragraphs.
I've never seen
I want to
anybody.
see what those guys like. If he can actually, I'm very curious because he seems like he lies a lot. I don't know how he can live with Lewis.
Oh yeah, I can't tell if he's like pathological or just like stupid with an inflated ego.
Yeah,
I think it's both.
Maybe
I think it's a combination of both.
The one supports the other.
Yeah. He pathologically lies. He says stuff like, "Oh, it's gonna rain tomorrow," and then it rains tomorrow, and he's like, "You see how fucking knowledgeable I am? Everyone bow down, take a knee to me because I said it was gonna rain tomorrow, and it rained." You just looked at the weather report on weather.com. No, I had a source from the gods above.
The Snyder Cut is coming out at Comic-Con. The Snyder Cut is coming out on this. The Snyder Cut is coming out on that. The Snyder Cut is coming out tomorrow. The Snyder Cut is coming out next week. The Snyder Cut's going to come out on HBO Max. Oh, I was right. The Snyder Cut coming out on HBO Max. I'm a genius. I have great sources.
Like if you look at all of his predictions, it's a tweet from like the whole Batman thing. That was a tweet from Culture Nerds. He literally, before he said that, there was a tweet by Culture Nerds that said there was a Batman movie on HBO Max with Ben Affleck. And he's like, from what I'm hearing, from what's coming on, bro, this is what I know. This is what I'm hearing.
Oh my God.
No, you just read some bullshit you fucking saw on Twitter, you stupid jackass. Fucking fat, stupid fuck.
Oh God.
All right, next question. From Crocodile Dundee. Kendall made me ask this. Comics should influence comic book movies. Why do you think it's happening the other way around? Example, Aquaman looks like Jason Momoa but blonde, for example. Go ahead. Dill, what's your thoughts?
Movies have a bigger impact than your new comic coming out. That's just how it is. And so, like, new audiences are getting used to these characters via the big screen. So when they come to the comics, I see that they're altering the comics, like they did it with Iron Man. They want the audience that's coming in to be familiar with that character instead of alienated with this different characterization. So it makes sense to me why they do it. And I understand from people who are major comic readers and they would rather it the other way around, would rather the movie version be like this super accurate comic, there's 10,000 comics this movie drew from, whatever. I don't care. It makes sense to me why they would do that. Now, whether or not they do it well is a different story, I'll pass it off to Jared.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely think it's because, well, you have these super successful films and you want to copy that success into the comic books. But I also don't like that personally, because it's almost like, well, now this one specific actor is the character both in the books and the film. But like once, they die and you need to find somebody else, like how much influence are they having on the origins, like where that character started? It just, I prefer if they made separate, but the material is what gets transferred over, not necessarily how it looks. Yeah, that's my opinion on that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this isn't new. It's happened before. It's 20 years ago. Not even like 30 years ago. Batman 89. When it came out, he was wearing a black suit. And that was the first time in the comics that Batman was wearing a black suit. And we see it now, like Superman has the cuffs. He has those bracers on his wrists, like he has in Man of Steel. So, the comics, they're not that great at designing stuff. Like, if you were a great designer, you wouldn't be in comics, you would be in designing. Okay? Because look at the Spider-Man villains. Like Electro, the Rhino guy.
Electro does have some awful costumes.
Yeah, like the Rhino and Scorpion. It's literally a dude in a Rhino suit, and it's a dude in a Scorpion suit. Like, fucking seriously? Like, that's your idea? So, they're not let's be real. They're not the best designers. The people in Hollywood are there because they've made it there. Their job, their purpose, their whole reason of being is to design costumes, okay? So that's why. You want to know why Batman has a black suit now? because someone in Hollywood who was hired to be a designer designed it. I don't know any other way to say it.
I mean, you see like the Batmobiles from some of the major movies make their way into the comics.
Yeah, exactly. What's the best looking Batmobile? Was it the
Probably
one from Batman v Superman, or was it the one in the comic books? It's just a fucking car with a Batman fucking face on the hood of it. Like, seriously.
The little bat shield in the front.
Yeah, it's a bat shield. It's like the face mask. It's like eyes and horns, or the Batman v Superman. The one, which one's better? Which one's better? The Nolan, the Tumbler, or the stupid ass car?
Yeah, the Mustang car.
The Mustang car. Which one's better?
That's actually Rian's favorite.
Yeah, well, he's a care guy.
He's a care guy.
He's a care guy.
You know, he's a big Ford care guy.
Yeah,
I really like the one from. I always get them mixed up. Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Is it the same one, or are they just slightly different?
Batman different. Forever is the one with the blue LED lighting.
Yeah.
Underneath.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't have LEDs then.
Yeah, I mean it's that blue lighting under like the rib cage, like design.
Yeah.
The front grill has like a strobe light under it. It's weird.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
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 You just said that.
Yeah, but he said blue light. That was like many lights.
But he
I don't
said
know.
that.
I haven't watched Forever.
All right, moving on.
All right. Next question. Last questions. 2 questions from Frank. He wants to know best TV shows that were canceled abruptly. No conclusions, hence we shouldn't watch them, right, Kano? So, what are your opinions of some shows that were canceled before they got to be fleshed out?
Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing?
Yeah, definitely.
Jill?
Well, at least Swamp Thing had the, hey, we're gonna make it just one season, so they had some time to adjust the ending. I don't know.
Well,
I can't think of any.
I think it got canceled like the first episode. Like it was announced that it was canceled after the first episode had just been released.
Yeah, one that I would want to see another season to is Hannibal, but it doesn't really fit your question either because the showrunners, I think every season finale, they left it where it was satisfying enough with a little open-endedness to it. So they were smart enough to make every finale seem like it could be the series finale. So I can't. The Pretender. Did any of you watch The Pretender?
Nope.
No.
One of the most frustrating endings. So like the season finale gets canceled. Season finale like brings all these new questions to it. It's like, oh my gosh, like, why did they cancel it? There's so much more to learn. This and that. Then they released not one movie, but 2 movies after it. And all they did was answer maybe 2 questions and add like 4, 5, 6 more questions. Most infuriating thing I have ever... Well, not the most infuriating thing I've ever witnessed, but media-wise, watching things-wise, intensely infuriating. Yeah. But I still love this show.
So for me, it's the Sarah Connor Chronicles Terminator series.
Dude, that was a good show.
That was a good show. I thought it was the best Terminator thing since Terminator 2. You wipe out Terminator 3 and all that other bullshit that came after. The Sarah Connor Chronicles was a good movie or a good show. Had a great first season. I was invested in it. Had a great second season. Third season, it kind of went off the rails a little bit, but I still liked it. It had the lead singer from Garbage come in, and she's like, you think she's an antagonist, she's a protagonist, but it ended with, okay, so John Connor's going to the future. He meets Kyle Reese, and so where's it going to go from there? They canceled the show. So for me, it sets up going to a new show, a new universe, a new storyline, and they just cut it off. They said, no, we're not going to do another one. So fuck all everyone that didn't watch that, so it got canceled because of lack of viewership.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
will say I do love the ending of Terminator 3. Like the whole movie sucks.
Oh yeah, that's the best part. That's the
The
best
ending,
part. Yeah.
fantastic.
Yep.
I love
Yep.
the ending. And I have a soft spot for Salvation. And so release the
Yeah,
McGee
Salvation wasn't bad. I enjoyed Salvation. There's some things they could have done different, but Christian Bale and what's the other guy?
Sam Worthington.
Sam Worthington did great jobs with
Dude,
what they had.
Well,
That's
my
what
favorite
saved
thing-
the movie was their performances.
Yeah. My favorite thing about that movie is how just brutal the action is, except with Sam Worthington's character. Like you'll see, there's a helicopter crash where John Connor's in the helicopter. All the pilots and the crew get like just destroyed, and John Connor barely escapes from his life from these like river water Terminators that are coming after him, right?
Yep.
And like he gets like brutalized. All the human characters just get brutalized in the action, rough on them. And then you'll see Sam Worthington early in the movie, and he's pulling off these outrageous, like almost, stereotypical, like over the top action and impossible aim and this and that stuff. And then it comes around to it, and it's like he's actually a Terminator. And you watch that again, you watch the movie again, and it's like it was so obvious from how his character behaved in the world compared to the human characters around him.
I love that.
That's
aspect.
That's such an awesome thing. But that's my favorite part of. That's my favorite thing that's in that movie.
Yeah.
It's just that little dynamic.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of stuff about that movie that didn't get its due justice. I don't think it was looked at right, and it could have spawned a series.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely better than come after it.
Oh,
sure,
yeah, definitely.
It's definitely better than Terminator 3 too, but the Terminator 3 ending has a better ending.
Yeah, Terminator 3 has a better ending. But if you wanted to set some movies in the Salvation era,
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see that. All right, next.
Who directed? Move on.
All right.
Rejected.
So, final question. We'll do this and we'll close out the show. Frank wants to know best DC animated property. Let's kick it off to you, Jared. What is the best DC animated property?
Well, y'all couldn't hate me anymore. I've only seen one, and that's the Batman animated series.
You haven't seen any of the movies?
No. I saw. It's movies as well. The only
like
movie that
animated movies.
Yeah. I think the only one that I have seen in full is Under the Red Hood, and I absolutely enjoyed that.
Wait, so you're telling me you haven't seen The Dark Knight Returns?
I've
Holy
seen
cow.
bits and pieces of those. I listen to the soundtrack on the regular. If that means
I will
anything.
say though the Red Hood animation is a better telling of the story than the comics does.
I just love that scene in the bathroom with no doors.
In my opinion. But I mean, it's hard not to choose Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
I feel like to be fair, you would have to remove that and the Mask of the Phantasm. It's like I just don't see how you can choose anything other than it. I mean, I kind of grew up with Batman Begins airing, so I have a bit more rooted nostalgia in Batman Begins than Batman the Animated Series, but I did have those re-airing, so I don't know. I have to go with Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Dill. It's got to be that. How can you say any? The length that it ran, the topics that it tackled,
the topics, the quality of it.
The quality of it. It was on Fox, and it was like a Saturday morning or something cartoon show for kids, but it was deeper than that.
And I think the animation style and that it used is pretty awesome. it's a pretty distinct. They drew on black paper.
Yeah.
They had these huge barrel chest Batman. They had some really unique animation.
And Mark Hamill was the Joker.
Yeah, and I think they did this with the Mask of the Phantasm, but I know they did it with the Batman Begins Joker movie, where they animated it to where it would fit 4:3 aspect ratio and widescreen. So they drew it in widescreen, but they framed it where it could be cut down to 4:3, which is really smart, for that time coming out in the 90s. Yeah. Everybody at home was going to be watching it on a 4:3 screen.
Yeah.
But it had in the theater and later now on DVD, we have the widescreen versions of it. I mean, these people had a lot of talent behind them, a lot of well thought stuff.
Some forward thinking.
Yeah.
They were forward thinking.
Yeah, and the Arkham series, the Arkham games owe so much to the animated series. The whole Justice League, United, Batman Begins, all that.
The Superman animated series as well.
Yeah, the Superman the animated series. And that's the Superman the animated series is many people's favorite Superman.
Yeah. Yeah, there's this whole argument of what Superman should be. Look at that. There you go, writers. Look at the animated series. Hell, look at Lois and Clark. There you go. Just go back to the 90s, and there's your inspiration for what Superman should be. It's not dark. It's not corny. It's not cheesy. It's just the character as he should be for the time period. All right?
Right.
Yeah. And on that note, that is it. We have done everything we needed to do. This has been the podcast. We are 2 hours and 30 minutes right now.
Dark Knight timing.
We're caught up on everything. We're moving forward. Jared, you got any last words for the audience? Anything you want to say?
If any of you listeners have watched the series Ray Donovan, come to mcmdebates.com and tell me how it is, because I want to check it out. Thank you. Yeah. Good night.
Yeah. All right. Jill, you got any words for the audience?
Jared's been recommending Yellowstone to me, which is a Taylor Sheridan. I think he wrote and produced it. If you don't know who Taylor Sheridan is, he's the writer of Sicario and Hell or High Water. So I'm very interested in that. It's led by Kevin Costner as the lead actor. So I'll be watching that soon. If any of you forum guys want to jump on that with me, we'll discuss it all the time.
Tell me when you start it, because I only watched the first episode. I can get back into it when you do. I think it's like 3 seasons.
For me, I'd just like to say, just go to mcmdebates.com, browse around, click around, interact. Click on that question, submit your questions button, and just say something. Or say anything. Hey, when this post on YouTube, tell us to fuck off. Tell us, good job. Or anything. Just do any interaction that you want to do. Especially if you made it this far. You made it this far, you stuck it out for over 2 hours, you're a champion. I appreciate you and everything you do.